And I ain't hit no drop in a minute. No, I'm about my business.
Rappers Got Podcast, episode 7. This is your host, Iggy Metro.
Bales Pagliacci.
And today we are here to talk about numbers.
And you need to, once you hear these numbers, you're going to need to light a fire under your ass.
All right, so don't think that I'm not paying attention by looking at my phone. I'm looking at my phone because I have the numbers and statistics up on my phone. These are all Spotify numbers, so understand that this is not based on the whole scheme of streaming platforms, but what you should know is that Spotify is the biggest streaming platform.
Yes.
And these numbers, besides YouTube, but YouTube's a different animal because there's videos, so it doesn't really hit the same. It's not just solely a music streaming platform, so the numbers are going to be skewed a bit.
But a solely music streaming platform, Spotify is it, and that's why a lot of times you'll see people saying, advertise to Spotify, advertise to Spotify. The amount of people that are on there far exceeds Apple Music. So Spotify.
Can do me a favor while I'm doing this and looking up or talking about these numbers, can you look up the amount of people on Apple Music versus Spotify?
Oh yeah, I got you right now.
All right, so on Spotify alone, the amount of artists rather throughout the entire landscape of music that are making over $1 million is 800 artists.
I'm not
on
one
Spotify,
of them.
there are 7 million artists. So out of 7 million, there are only 800 artists that are making over $1 million. So if your thought process is that like everyone gets as successful as Russ, it's not like that. And I want you to understand, this goes for Michael Jackson's estate. This goes for Tupac's estate.
Prince.
The biggest artists that you could ever imagine fall into that 800. And if you really wanted to sit there and draw out a list of people that you think could be in that, like a Drake, the Beatles estate, like you're going to, because remember, this is Rappers Guide Podcast. We're not talking about rappers here. We're talking about musicians. We're talking about country. We're talking about hip hop. We're talking about literally everything. R&B, whatever. So out of 7 million artists, 800 are making over $1 million. What does that mean? That means under a single % of artists even get to that threshold where they're making $1 million. Do you have the numbers for Spotify?
Oh yeah, I do. Hold on. So for Spotify, they have... Stupid Apple. I hate this Face ID. Spotify has 286 million users at the end of March 2020, and Apple Music has 130
and now
million
Spotify
subscribers.
You're saying that Spotify has 286 at the end of March 2020.
Yeah.
The updated number that I read the other day is around 320 million subscribers. Versus Apple Music that you said has 137?
130 million. So I guess the 137 is the newer number.
Okay. So 130 million subscribers on Apple Music versus 320 million on Spotify. When you're marketing your music, you want to market to the streaming platform that has the most subscribers, because just by weighted averages, like you're going to have more people that follow you that use Spotify over Apple Music. Am I off on thinking that Apple Music is more of like a young man's app?
It's the same thing as far as like having like an Apple iPhone. It's just like you're in the ecosystem, so you just happen to just...
Because it's strange to me. Like I really feel like a lot of people, put it this way. When I look at my top tracks on Spotify versus my top tracks on Apple Music, Spotify tends to be my more underground boom bap records, where Apple Music tends to be like the tracks with like a trap-ish beat.
It's more vibey. Yeah, I think even when you look at it from a perspective of like marketing your music as well, like when you market your songs, or when you think about like how phones are used in the grand scheme of things, there's more Android, Google phones than there are iPhones in the market. So then I think that also has something to do with it as well. And it could be like a younger thing where a lot of kids just want to have an iPhone because it's the next best, coolest thing to have. And they're probably utilizing Apple Music. And that's probably where you could be onto something right there too as well.
All right. So $1 million. making $1 million off streaming. Everyone knows like music doesn't make money off streaming. We all get that, right? So I don't need to make $1 million. I just want to make over like 6 figures.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
What's the number of people that make over 100K on Spotify through streaming? 7,500 people.
I'm not one of them again.
7,500 people in the entire world out of 7 million people that are making music on Spotify make over $100,000.
And it's all genres.
Every genre, 7,500 people. And people might look at that number and go, 7,500, that's a lot. When it's out of 7 million, it's not a lot. It's
Not
a
at
very
all.
tiny percentage. So again, you have to understand, we're in this game that we think everyone has an equal opportunity to blow up. And although that might be true in some cases, in the grand scheme of things and making money in this game through streaming revenue, you're not looking at a lot of people that are actually making money off streaming. So you might be thinking about the playlisting that we've talked about. You might be thinking about all the marketing tools.
Mm-hmm.
The average of people or the percentage of people that are making it to the degree of making that amount of money is such a small percentage that it shows that the amount of people that are marketing aren't getting to that point.
And it's kind of funny too. I think that, sometimes when I do post my stats about, how many streams I have, people have like a mental picture that's not like in a rap game or whatever. They have like a mental picture. I think that those amount of streams kind of equates kind of to the same amount of money, which it actually doesn't. Because once again, every time somebody streams a song through Spotify, I think they're looking at like 0.00036 cent. So like that's horrible, number one. But at the same time, it doesn't matter like the amount of streams you get. A lot of times your money isn't gonna come strictly from streams just because it has those horrible percentages. Unless you're on Tidal, but who's like really using Tidal actively at this point? So,
Well, that's the biggest problem with Tidal. And Tidal's trying to make jumps and leaps when it comes to supporting the artist and like
Mhm.
really getting the artist more money. But the problem is that the consumer doesn't care about that.
yeah.
You can look when Spotify puts up that year-end wrap-up, you could see the amount of people that Spotify has impact on or
Yeah.
has in their market. You know what I mean? Like it's everywhere. Apple Music might try to do the year-end wrap-up, but that's just whack.
It is. It's
That
like-
shit is trash.
Nobody, you don't
It's not even
see-
close.
You
Like,
don't see nobody like, yo, let me just show you my Apple one. No, everybody's going to the Spotify.
It's all
wrapped
Spotify.
up. Yeah.
And I say that to say that there's just a lot of fucking people listening on Spotify. So now, if you're someone who uses Apple Music, get a free Spotify account. And when your music comes out, share the page of your Spotify account. Don't share your Apple Music account unless you're sharing both. That's fine. But don't just disregard Spotify because you're one of those Apple Music users, because you're not in the majority.
And at the same time, don't fully disregard Apple Music just for Spotify. Spotify should be normally the main priority because of the listenership. But at the same time, you need your streaming coming from all over the place. It doesn't have to just be from Spotify, Apple Music. If you're using those distribution platforms, it's going to a whole bunch of streaming services. Spotify is the number one, but at the same time, make sure you're paying attention to the other ones as well. Because once again, everything starts accumulating together. Everything starts adding up. And once again, you're not going to make a full living off of streaming for the most part. But that's like kind of the first step, I guess, when it comes in the sense of artistry of how you're going to get your money. That's kind of like the first step.
You know what I just realized that I want to touch on, because we talk a lot and we're mostly talking to people who have a decent inkling of an understanding of the music industry,
Mhm.
or like at least from a upcoming artist standpoint.
Yeah.
But we disregard the people that have no idea how this stuff works. And I don't ever want to do that. I
Yeah.
want this to be as simple as possible for people that don't get it to kind of understand. So let's take it bare bones. Let's talk about distribution.
Yeah, we can talk about distribution.
How does an artist on their way up who normally puts their music up on SoundCloud, has no idea how to get on Spotify, Apple Music, and all these different platforms, how do they go about that?
Well, the first thing you do is you go to google.com, like how everything normally starts in this world. You got to start with Google somewhere, and just basically type in how to distribute my music. So there's the thing though, just like everything else in the world that you search, there's going to be a lot of different options, a lot of possibilities.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah, definitely a good thing. Everybody's going to promise you this. One's going to promise you this one. One's going to promise you this. But at the end of the day, you got to sit there and kind of make a decision for yourself, or just take a leap of faith, honestly, because that's sometimes what a lot of this stuff is, and just, work with something. And also, like when people used to be like in a 10-year record deal, whatever the case may be, like, you got to give us 5 albums. Like, even if you go to a streaming platform right now or a distribution service and you don't like what they're doing, you can just pick up your stuff and leave. You're not locked in
Yeah, you can
for a
cancel
long
right away.
term. You know what I'm saying?
So when you're looking for a distribution service, right? There's actually a really good website called aristake.com.
Mm-hmm.
And it's by a man called named Ari Herstand. And he basically just gives a bunch of upcoming artists music advice to the average musician who doesn't have all their shit in check and doesn't know much about the industry. So if you want to follow a good website, go on his website and read his blog posts. They're amazing. But he has a really comprehensive spreadsheet that's set up, and it actually takes every streaming or distribution platform rather, and it compares them to each other, and it tells you the benefits, the pros, the cons. It tells you literally everything you need to know, and it kind of shows you what you're interested in and which one you should choose based on your interest.
Yeah.
So once you get to one of these distribution platforms, if we're taking it just from the root of things and kind of building up, once you get to a distribution platform, let's take DistroKid, for instance, right? DistroKid is a platform where you pay $20 a year, not a month, a year. You pay $20 for the year and you get unlimited releases. Okay. Once you sign up for an account and you hit them off with the 20, there's an upload form.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to go on this upload form. You're going to fill out all the details, your track title.
When's it supposed to come out?
Right.
The album art.
Literally everything that you need to do. And then once you click that send button, and they also give you options if you want to be on Shazam. They've been robbing me for fucking
Yeah, he just
for
found out
years.
today. I had to tell him.
So I was picking the dollar option to be on Shazam and Siri, and Bales has not been picking that option.
And I still
And
get my
he's still on
Shazams.
Shazam and Siri, so I'm gonna have to hit up DistroKid and ask for my fucking money back because that wasn't cool.
And don't try to take it away from me now.
But so you go through this platform, you go through this submission form, and you release your record. Once you release your record, and it's really as simple as that. Like, don't get scared of the process of putting out a record because it's really simple.
Yeah.
And also, once you do it a couple times, it just becomes second nature. Like my most annoying thing with those platforms is the amount of days it takes to come out on
Actual
streaming platforms.
Yeah, on the actual platform itself.
So once you use we should stop calling it a distribution platform. It's more of a distribution service.
Yeah.
So when you sign up for one of these services, they're going to release your music out to every single service. It's not like with podcasting, I have to take this podcast, I have to go and send our feed to every single store. And once you do it once, it's interactive, so it's constantly uploading, so that I don't have to keep on doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But with the music, once you fill that submission form and then you send it out, it spreads it to every single platform. Now, every distribution service that you use goes to a different amount of platforms. So I found out today that DistroKid, or I found out yesterday rather, DistroKid goes to one Chinese market. Why is this important? The Chinese market that just got access, because China is a communist country. The Chinese market just got access to really being able to explore music. And I was reading a blog post yesterday that said that within the next 5 years, they're expecting an explosion of Chinese support in music.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important to find a distribution service that does distribute. And I'm not going to say that DistroKid won't in the next 5 years get on board with more. So that's also possible. But it's important to get on a service that allows you to be spread throughout all the places that have the most people and can get you the most listeners. For our podcast, we're in India, So there's a lot of support from the Indian market
Yeah.
because you give them something to listen to that's not the normal.
And if you think about it, you know, China is heavily populated. Number one, they're the most populated. No,
Yeah, you're talking. I mean,
India
versus
is.
India, you're talking. You're talking 2 billion people versus roughly 2 billion people.
So that's an entire market that you just want to have a one leg up on, or you just want to get a jump start on. Because you know, in this game, any type of jump start, any way you can get ahead of something before it's like really pops and bubbles up, it's going to be beneficial for you.
This game is Jumpstart. That's literally what it is.
Innovation.
It's how can I get there before everyone knows about it.
Yeah.
And you might not think that that's the case, but it is. It's listening to a new artist on the come up who no one knows about and not copying them, but like understanding that this might be the next wave.
Mm-hmm.
So recognizing that this is a pattern that might continue and I might benefit from actually like doing something that's similar to this.
And that's how a lot of the newer rappers, whatever, entertainers actually did blow up. They sometimes find like that smaller guy, like, you know what, I could take this.
That happens all the time.
I could take this and I could, you know, sauce it up or spice it up a little bit, and then boom. Now
Drake said Baby Keem's
artist.
name on Rap Radar interview.
Mm-hmm.
He said Baby Keem Die For My Bitch is like one of his favorite albums of the year. And Drake will come out with a song that he's using a never heard before flow
Mm-hmm.
that you're like, holy shit, yo, the way he's in the pocket right now is crazy. And then you listen to Baby Keem and you go,
well, somebody was else in that pocket already. Yeah, somebody else was in that pocket already.
He's just not as big.
Yeah.
Right. So these guys are constantly doing this, and that's how they kind of innovate. They're taking from bits and pieces. There's a great quote. I forget if it's I don't know if it's a Michelangelo quote.
I have no idea. I can't even help you. I'm gonna look away.
I actually want to look it up. Can you look up who said a good artist borrows, a great artist steals?
Let me see.
I'm going to explain what this means. I just want to be correct on who actually said that so I don't look like a fucking idiot.
Igor Stravinsky?
No, it wasn't Stravinsky that said that.
Pablo Picasso.
It was Picasso.
I think Stravinsky probably just reiterated
Yeah, he
later
just
down the
copied it,
road.
but-
So it's Picasso originally.
Okay, so Picasso said a good artist borrows, a great artist steals, right? Something along those
yes,
lines?
that's exactly what it is.
Okay, cool. So what they're saying is not go steal everyone's shit, but in other words, they are saying that a good artist borrows things, which is saying like a good artist might take something, but they're not 100% on board with it because they feel like people are going to recognize. A great artist steals where it's like, yo, that flow's cold. I'm going to take that shit.
Mhm.
That flow's cold. I'm going to take that shit. That beat is cold as fuck. I'm going to take that shit. I'm going to do everything
And bring
and
some things
combine it
together.
and make my own style with all these different elements. And if you're a rapper who acts like you don't have influences or you don't sound like someone else or you haven't taken flows and bits and pieces from other people,
Cap.
you're lying.
Cap.
You're lying. That's not even possible. Like this is a game where this is what we do. We hear flows on. Lil Baby is a super influential rapper right now.
Mm-hmm.
I might rap on a boom bap beat and use a flow that Lil Baby would use.
Yeah.
Why is that cold? It's cold because he's not rapping on boom bap beats. So if I take
He's a
that
trap
energy and I
artist.
transfer it over to this type of style, now it's completely different and I'm innovative.
Yeah. No, that makes complete
But
sense.
the initial came from Lil Baby.
Yep.
I didn't create that shit. I just took it and made it mine.
And even if anything, when it comes to the world of art, in a sense, like it's even hard to say, besides the people that was really there who were originally creating it, it's like every single thing that we do or everything that we could think of is just regurgitated. Like even like sometimes like music video ideas or just like song structure ideas, you may think is new, but I'm pretty sure you might have subconsciously heard it somewhere before and it's just kind of popping back into your brain and you're regurgitating it, but you're putting your own spin to it. You're putting your own additions to it. If you take in something that you heard before and you just repeating it word for word, verbatim, now you're just stealing.
You want to hear how corny some artists are? You are rapping on a sample beat, talking about, yo, you're biting my style.
Yeah. That's the wildest thing I've ever heard.
Dog, you're stealing from someone
Yep.
and making it yours, and then mad when someone does the same exact thing to you.
Mm-hmm.
So drop the ego, understand that that's how this game works, and hopefully you're the first person who blows up with that style. But if you're not, and someone else takes a style that's similar to yours, or they reinvent your style and make it their own, and they get big, it's just how the game works.
Yeah, and like you can't even be mad because sometimes even if you try to capitalize on something, it may not work for you. But that doesn't mean you still don't have a lane that you can still be in. But somebody may just benefit more from that flow than you.
Thomas Edison was taking fucking Nikola Tesla's ideas and trying to recreate them in his own way. And he gets all the credit for that shit in history.
Yeah, because you think about, nobody really knew who Tesla was until, Tesla now. But
right.
For the most part, everybody didn't know who he was. And now that's kind of more into light.
Because Thomas Edison just took it and made the shit his, and history is very kind to the fucking people who win. So why I'm saying that is because it's important to know how to kind of innovate and create new things, and taking that back to these streaming platforms, that's going to garner a fan base.
Yes.
All right. Initial topic that we wanted to talk about was obviously your percentage of chance in this game. Now, when we say these numbers, we're not saying it to discourage and make you feel like it's impossible to become great in this game or to make money in this game.
Definitely not what we're doing.
What we're trying to do is let you know that it's nowhere near as simple, or it's nowhere near as abundant as you think it is. You might think that this game is just a quick money grab and there's so much money going around that it's easy to get, and it's not that simple. And if it was, everyone would do it.
Everybody would doing it. And it's like, once again, there's some people that will hear those numbers and be discouraged, right? There's some people like me, like, I'm an artist. You say those numbers to me, and it's like, what was the how many tracks are usually dropped like on a Friday?
No, not on a Friday.
But just every day in general, right? It's
okay, that's a good number. Every single day, 60,000 records are released.
So that means every Friday it's me against 60,000 people. Right. And I got to fight for it, and that seems like a crazy number, but at the same time, that's a challenge for me, because now it's like, okay, I have a release coming out. I need to be able to work hard, because that means every day, that's just wild. But at the same time,
there's also 8 billion people on this earth.
Exactly.
Like, these numbers might scare the shit out of you, but it's also like, we're talking about just artists. These numbers are artists. It's not people on the earth. So like, out of 8 billion people, you shouldn't be scared to compete against 7 million people. Like, everyone's competing as well. So it's not like you're the only one that's competing against these people. We're all competing for streams and for a fan base. But in those 8 billion people, you could find a pocket that loves you.
Yes.
You don't need, this is the thing, you don't need, we've talked about this on prior episodes, you don't need 1 million people to like you.
No, you do not. But if you're chasing that fame and all that stuff, that's where your mindset is, that's where you're getting it kind of, that's where you're, a lot of conflict is going to come in, that fame portion of it.
I also feel like the fame portion, again, we've talked about these things before, but I feel like the fame portion of it is misconstrued.
Yes.
And people don't realize that like 100,000 people could get you a million streams.
Yeah, and it can make you famous in your own right.
1,000 people could get you 100,000 streams.
Yes. And even there's some rappers that's out here now that they're selling like their CDs for like $60, and then they got like 500 to 1,000 people to pay that $60.
That buy it.
Hey, you just made a lot of money.
Right,
I don't know the math,
like,
but
you don't need that many people, and that's the one bright point of this. And again, we're talking about streaming dollars. So when we're talking about merch and we're talking about like physical copy albums, vinyls and shit, that's a completely different game.
And that starts, even then you can make a nice little killing. That's
right.
Racking
so
up.
you could make a few $1,000s through streaming, and then make majority of your money through elsewhere, merchandise and all these different outlets of selling your art.
Like what artists were doing beforehand. It's like, yo, you can look at it like this, like your streaming is going to take care of your rent if you reach that point. And then everything else that you could probably think of or want to purchase, that could come from selling other forms of your music, selling other forms of your artistry. Brands will want to start reaching out to you, partnerships, all that. It's not only streaming that, kind of equates to how much you're able to make. But at the same time, you don't need that many people to get the streaming. You don't need that many people to sell to, because once again, you just need a real core fan base that's going to really believe in you and what you're doing, and they're going to want to support you no matter what. And a lot of artists do have that.
We said that 60,000 number. That number probably scares the shit out of you guys. 60,000 tracks are coming out on a daily basis on Spotify alone.
Fasten your seatbelts.
And probably every stream platform, because the 60,000 that are being distributed are probably being distributed amongst everywhere. So that 60,000 number probably carries over, different than plays on Spotify and stuff like that. But within the next 5 years, they expect that number to be up to 245,000 a day.
Oh, say it again, Dick.
245,000 tracks coming out a day.
And 10 albums for it, like, I'm sorry, a 10-track album for a year, is that going to cut it?
Right.
In this day and age?
So back to our always point, right?
Yes.
We're not, this is a point that we're going to drive home on. It doesn't matter what episode we do this. You need to drop music.
Release it.
There are 60,000 records coming out daily. And if you're not one of those people, you're missing out.
Disadvantage already.
And you don't have to be a daily artist. No one expects you to make 365 records a year. Although I would really give you a lot of credit if you did that. That would be fucking amazing shit. But no one expects you to be that guy. But a weekly release, that shouldn't be difficult for you. You have 7 days to come up with a dope record. That shouldn't be difficult if you're an artist. Every 2 weeks, that should not be difficult. You know what I mean? Every month, that should not be difficult. 12 tracks a year should not be difficult for a person who wants to pursue a career in music. And as crazy as you guys think that sounds, it's just being real and being real with yourself. If in 365 days you couldn't come up with 12 tracks, you shouldn't do this shit.
Go get a day job.
Yeah, like, and I'm not, again, we're not trying to discourage. It's just real. It's just reality. Like, if you can't come up with more than 12 tracks, here's a great example. Griselda Records comes out on the scene and they bring it back to boom bap, 90s sounding records. Those fuckers drop 8 albums a piece each.
A lot. And I can't keep up.
Every 2 months they're coming out with, or every month they're coming out with a different album. It's fucking incredible, but it's really not that incredible. Like they're paid to be rappers, bro. Their job is to rap on records. So in 2021, they're just acting with the times. Like, you should, if you're going to put out albums, there should be a new album every month.
Yeah. That's just how it's supposed to be, because once again, attention spans are very small. The songs, even sometimes songs are getting like small as far as the time length of songs. Sometimes I'll be listening to a song like, it's over already. It's like only a minute and 30 seconds, but at the same time, it works. I may replay it again. Like, oh, this is pretty quick and easy for me to listen to. So a lot of things are changing in a quick and fast paced way, like everything in the world. Technology, whatever the case may be, music is no different. So why treat it?
Why music has gotten, I used to always tell people, like, back in the day, if you did a song that was 2 minutes or under, you would have gotten laughed out the room.
Yeah, you needed like a 6 minute, 7 minute whole ballad.
Yeah, like you needed at least 3 choruses and 2 to 3 verses. That was standard. Sometimes 4 choruses on a record, and then the last chorus would repeat. Records were 5 minutes.
Yeah, which says something about our attention spans back then, because you listen to those songs now, you're like, I can't do this.
Yeah, but here's the weird part. We like short records because we like the replay value, right? But what is the difference of making a 2-minute record that you're going to replay 3 times or making a 6-minute record?
The streaming.
But what's the difference in listening?
There's no difference at all.
That's the confusing part. That's the thing that I would love to get to the bottom of. Like, why are people drawn to a shorter record that they're going to repeat 5 times rather than listening to a full-length record that they could play once and get the same thing out of?
I think it's probably just attention. There's too much stuff out there.
Yeah, but they're paying attention when they listen to it 4 times.
Also true.
You see what I'm saying? That's the confusing part to me. Like, psychologically, I don't understand that. I don't understand taking a record and replaying it 3 times, totaling 6 minutes, when you could just listen to a 4-minute record and it could give you the same effect, except less. You know what I mean? Like, if you're listening to a record that's 2 minutes 3 times, you're listening to that record at a longer time span than you're listening to a 4-minute record.
I think that may have been just the labels trying to
boost streaming,
inflate the streaming numbers. Because that now you're saying that, I didn't even
that's all it is.
Because now if I listen to like the Back in Blood, that Pooh Shiesty and the Lil Durk song, I listen to that probably like 4 times in a row. I just gave them 4 additional streams rather than them having like a longer song and I'm only listening to it once.
So the labels might be sitting there going, 4 minutes, not going to cut it. And to the label's credit, I do the same thing with artists that come through. When an artist, I had an artist named Loki Ra come by recently, and he was about to record a third and fourth verse on his record. And I told him straight up, I said, don't do that shit.
Nah.
One, I'm going to tell you guys, and it went off. So,
God damn it. We're going to get a better camera eventually.
yeah. One, I'm going to tell you guys that my primary reason for making short records is why make the record harder for yourself? When you record a song that needs 2-3 verses, every verse has to match that first verse. And that first verse is always the initial thing that hit you when you were writing this record. So you need to match that energy. And sometimes that second verse, it feels like you're trying to fabricate the energy from the first verse.
I hate writing second verses.
It just doesn't feel comfortable.
I hate it.
So what I started doing is I do one verse. I do 2 choruses if I have a chorus on the record.
Yeah.
After that, if I want it to be a longer record, I reach out to an artist and I say, who wants to do a verse
on this? Yeah, that second
verse.
Because
I don't want to do that second verse. I want to do my first verse and I want to be out the door. Right? So understand that the game has gotten easier for you as the creator. All you're being asked for now, because I think that people conflate the idea of having to write a 3-verse record, a full-length record, and that being why it takes a longer time for them to put out music. When really, if you put out a song with a 16 and 2 choruses, maybe a pre-chorus, little bridge section, the job is easier. You have there's more likelihood of you dropping that record quicker, and you're not being asked for as much. So just do what's easy for you and understand that, like, in this competition of content, you're really just trying to put out product as quick as possible and as much as possible. And if you saved those 3 verses and spread them amongst 3 songs, it's a better idea in 2021.
Don't work harder. Work smarter.
Right.
Definitely work hard, but work smart when in the midst of you doing that.
Work smarter with everything in music.
Yes, exactly.
If it's simpler, do it.
Always try to do the most simplest version or form of everything. When you start doing all the extra stuff, that's when it becomes, I don't know about this anymore.
Bro, the simple beats are supreme now. The simple raps are supreme now.
Even how you record music, like you said, one vocal track, barely any ad-libs, just a lot of wetness as far as the reverb.
If kids understood how we used to record with doubles and in and outs and ad-libs and your chorus section having 4 different vocals going at once, and, you know, they would really appreciate the time we're in, where you can just hop on a record, rap with 1 vocal. And to their credit, and what I do now is a lot of my records are 1 vocal track.
Yep.
I'm an engineer. I'm not trying to be the rapper as much as I used to. So when I'm making a record, unless it really calls for anything doubles extra and triples, I'm just trying to do what's simple, what's easy, and what I could get out of the door as quick as possible.
And that's the best way to do it.
Do what I'm doing.
Make it simple for yourself.
Don't let the engineer guy be a more consistent rapper than the rapper guy.
I like that.
You feel what I'm saying?
I like that.
All right. I think that's a good line to leave on.
That was bars. Talking about something you don't want to be the rapper guy, the engineer guy, then you drop some bars. Okay.
All right, guys. This is Rapper Guys. Wow. That was a stumble. This is the Rappers Guide podcast. We are signing out. This is Diggy Metro.
Bales Pagliacci.
Peace out, guys.